welcome to Trek in the Valley, Episode 9.
Hello.
This is Adam Ordall Quinnell.
Hello, this is Al Hirt.
And we are broadcasting from the past in Van Nuys, California. We are recording this on September 25th.
Wow.
September 25th. You're probably hearing this about 10 or 11 weeks from now, whenever we get around to actually starting to release the podcast. I hope it's better where you are. I'm not going to get into it, but there's a few things that happen between now and then that I just hope shit is cool. Hello. So if you're new to this podcast, how is that possible? Where did you hear about it? I'm so curious to know. I'm never going to read your comments, but
let us know. We'll try to spread the word
I'm
too.
just so curious how anybody could possibly be hearing this, but God bless you if you are. We're going to talk about an episode. Well, here's what we do. We talk about an episode of Star Trek, the original series, and we recommend like a video game or a piece of content. And we just kind of chat about things in the context of this episode of Star Trek, the original series.
Kind of try to break it down, give our takes on it, see if there's anything else interesting that we can take out of this original series.
And keep in mind,
it hasn't been beaten to death already, but
we are not experts, and we do not read. I do not go on Star Trek Reddit to see what is out there. So if you hear this and you're like, hey, somebody on the internet said some shit that was kind of like that. Well, guess what? It must have been fucking obvious. Or I would. It's all good. Because I am not going out of my way to find anything yet. We'll see.
No, very surface level.
Now, if you're paying for this podcast years from now on like a subscription service or something, thank you. And we're really working hard now. But back then, this is what you got.
Yes.
So today, on this sweaty Sunday afternoon, it's 95 degrees again in the valley, and we're here to talk about Episode 9 of Star Trek, the original series. The episode title is Dagger of the Mind.
Daggers of the Mind.
Is it Daggers or Dagger?
No, I think it's an S, right?
Oh, we're gonna find out.
Memories. Oh no, it's one.
I wasn't trying to correct you, bro.
I hate
Dagger.
S sounds more.
Daggers. Dagger of the Mind. I wouldn't know if this is like an iconic episode or not because, like I said, I don't do any research.
Well, every guest star works and does so well that you think they're all special.
Well, and that's the crazy, that's the wild thing about these early episodes is they all feel, because you know, the through line of this whole thing is we both kind of came to this at Next Generation and after, or Deep Space Nine, I think in Al's case.
Oh no, I started with Next
Generation. Yeah, we talked about that on the pilot. That people listening to this probably haven't heard at all or yet, but we started at Next Generation, and I never watched the original series because it always seemed corny and hokey to me. And then I got COVID in May, and I started watching these original series remasters, and they look and sound great. And it really gave me a new respect for the original series. And then, of course, they are all awesome sci-fi stories, and yes, there are some dated things, and it is sexist and hokey and weird sometimes, but these episodes are all classic sci-fi tropes and goodness, and Dagger of the Mind continues to deliver on that. Looks like they got it out of a pile of old science fiction scripts or paperbacks and quickly adapted it to an episode of Star Trek.
It looks like they just came from the premise too of like, what if we just had a beam that wiped people's minds? Yes. And then they just wrote from there.
What if a mind beam? What if there's and we'll get to it later, but the beam is great. It looks like an antique ashtray taped to a lamp on the ceiling. I love it. So
just rotating lights.
So the episode starts with an awesome exterior shot of the Enterprise. Oh, a couple other things about the episode. This episode, Dagger of the Mind, originally aired on November 3rd, 1966. Today's date, like I said, September 25th, 2022. Just about 56 fucking years. More like just about 56 years ago.
Dang.
The synopsis from Paramount Plus is a new treatment for the criminally insane has deadly results.
They kind of go back and forth because on one hand, they say it's prison, but then Kirk says it's a resort and then a rehab center.
Well, it's all
a rehab center. So
it is really a prison.
Relative. Yeah, no, it is.
Those assholes have a those assholes have a stake in reforming the idea of prisons. And I love how, you get the idea that this is a Federation sanctioned place where they're going. So, long story short, the Enterprise. Oh, was there anything else? So Chekhov check-in,
oh, yeah,
20 episodes. We got 20 episodes before we get to the awesome wigs and the great accent. So it starts, they're transporting some supplies down to a penal colony on a plant on the Tantalus colony. Right, and there's so they're transporting some things down to the Tantalus colony, and one of the Tantalus, supposedly one of the inmates, sneaks into a crate, gets on the Enterprise. Tantalus colony contacts Kirk and is like, "Hey, you got one of our inmates."
Just the timing of all that's pretty funny too.
Exactly, they're saying no, but it's basically like they say nobody could sneak on board. Nobody would want to.
Yeah.
And then somebody sneaks on board immediately.
Yeah, no, and then Spock and Kirk are talking on the bridge, and he's like, "I'm not sure," or no, Bones, and he's like, "I'm not sure, if it's like if it's a good place or a prison," and Kirk
so Bones and
totally fine, they're resorts.
Bones is saying, "Hey, we're going to a prison," and Kirk is like, "These are less like penal colonies, more like
centers.
More like a resort colony," and Bones is like, "A cage is still a cage, motherfucker." And you're like, man, Bones is pretty hard, dude. He's good.
And he was just saying like, oh, they take good care of all their inmates and this and that. And right as he finishes that sentence, Kirk, he gets a report. And
Kirk is like, you're behind the times, Bones. Bones, you're behind the times, Bones. And it's like, beep, beep. A violent criminal has stowed away into a crate. So then they find the guy, and it turns out he's this dude Van Gelder, who worked at the penal colony, and they take him back to the penal colony, even though he says, "Don't take me back." And Dr. Adams, the big shot at the penal colony, who Kirk inexplicably goes to bat for at all times. Kirk's like, "Hey, this guy's a great scientist. If he says there's something wrong with this Van Gelder guy, there's something wrong with him."
Kirk is the total antagonist in this entire episode. I was turning to Adam and I said, this entire episode is just, the premise is off of Kirk's arrogance and how he further and further goes into the issue.
If Kirk would have just listened to anybody who said, "Hey, this prison shit is fucked up," because
maybe this guy is not wrong.
So they go. So and Dr. Adams knows that Dr. Adams does the penal colony bigwig does everything he can to make it seem like, oh no, we don't really care if you bring him back. He's like, hey, if you can find a hospital planet or whatever that's closer, if you can find a place that's better than our facility, by all means, I want him to get the best care possible. And Bones mutes it, and he's like, this son of a bitch knows there's nowhere better for treating this shit.
Oh, from the beginning, he's incredibly sketchy.
Yeah, and then they go back. So they don't take Van Gelder back to the planet, but the ship goes back to Tantalus, the colony.
And they're still deciding on whether to give him back or not, too.
Yeah, and they're gonna go check it out. And Kirk goes and checks it out. And
oh wait, that's the point I wanted to bring up too. Actually, one of the better parts of the episode
is when they all get scared of the turbo lift opening.
That too, but when they're arguing, Bones and Kirk, and he's like, I'm gonna write that I have any doubts in my report, and you're gonna have to respond to it in your report. And then the music just stings.
There's like a music, yeah. So they're so Bones is saying, hey, I don't want to give Van Gelder back necessarily. We got to study this, and he's like, and I'm gonna put that in my report, Kirk, and you're gonna have to check a box in your report. And Kirk is just like, my God, is he still talking?
Yeah, and
there's so much great.
She says, I'm really embarrassed to say this, Mr. Adams or Dr. Adams, but we have to, according to Starfleet instructions
do a
we get
report.
Yeah, we have to do a thorough investigation.
And he's like, hey, I want you to investigate. Doctor, you never
So
trust
awful.
anybody that wants you to investigate them. They
have it already. That's why.
Exactly. And so there's a few things I want to mention from my notes. The transporter engineers. This is when engineering was still just wearing the red silk robes. That's fucking awesome.
The Komodo robes.
Yeah, and right before right before the intro, when it cuts to the intro, Van Gelder gives like the best, sweatiest like character actor face. Morgan Woodward plays Dr. Simon Van Gelder.
Oh, he crushed
the Storoway.
it.
He's so good. They're all so good. And when they get the word that there's a criminal loose on the Enterprise, they or one of the patients at least. There's this great scene where their Bones and Kirk and Spock are all on the bridge, and then the turbo lift doors open, and Kirk looks like he's scared. Like, is that Van Gelder? But it's just a regular crewman, like a security person. And then Van Gelder pops in like 2 minutes later, and it's very funny.
Same way.
So Kirk, so they get so Bones assigns Kirk an assistant. And it's this Dr. Helen Noel, played by Mariana Hill. And immediately Kirk is uncomfortable when he sees her at the transporter room, because we find out a second later that Kirk and her hooked up after the science office Christmas party. And so Kirk's immediately uncomfortable. And Kirk's kind of a dick about it. He's like, oh, Bones, she better be the best damn assistant ever if you're making me put up with. He's like, I'm disgusted by the fact that I might have to interact with somebody I had sex with.
Yeah.
He's like, how dare you, Bones?
And it's like, it kind of seems more of a move from Bones as like a
matchmaker.
Yeah, not only that,
Gross.
but it's more of like hey, come on, like you got to focus, you asshole, too, because they were
she's
just
the
arguing.
Best. And she's the one. Well, and that's why Bones justifies it, because she's the best. She's got the experience with this type of science. She understands brain beams. And so she's the one that goes down with Kirk to the planet, because Dr. Adams is like, oh, you can't bring very many people down, you know.
That's the other red flag too, obviously.
Yeah, Kirk
just
bring
you and one other person.
A small crew, and Kirk is like, I've been to rehabilitation centers before. I know what we're supposed to do.
These are super cool.
We'll leave our knives. We'll leave our shivs on the ship. And so when they get down to the Tantalus colony, they first meet Lethe, an assistant, a woman who's an assistant who definitely has been brainwashed. But she's been completely brainwashed. She thinks and Dr. Adams is like, yeah, this is Lethe. She was a patient here, or an inmate. I can't remember what she calls her. And then she stayed on to be a therapist. It's like, that's not how it works.
That's
you don't
completely against the rules.
Yeah, you don't. Oh yeah, I'm a therapist now because I've had a brain treatment. And I wanted to take this time, now that we've met Lethe, right? And now that we've met Lethe and we know that it's called Tantalus, let's get into some Greek mythology shit.
Oh yeah,
because that's what this is from. So Lethe is the Greek word for oblivion. And in Greek mythology, Lethe is the daughter of Eris, or strife, and the personification of oblivion. But this is, I think, the more apt meaning. Lethe is also the name of a river. No, that's not it. A river in Hades whose waters cause drinkers to forget their past.
Oh, yeah, there we go, yeah.
Little on the nose.
Well, that's probably where they got the character names and stuff. They're like, oh, it needs to be sci-fi, it needs to be kind of related
making
with
the reference. They're like, we got to have it be kind of brainy.
For sure.
And then
two birds, one stone. They're like, cool.
So that's Lethe. That's Lethe. And Tantalus, as we all know, is the figure from Greek mythology who he's like in Hades, he's in a river up to his chest, and he's always hungry, and there's like grapes hanging just out of reach, and he can't reach the water to drink or eat. He was attempting to serve his own son at a feast with the gods, and he was punished by Zeus to forever go thirsty and hungry in Hades, despite being stood in a pool of water and almost within reach of a fruit tree.
Wow.
Yeah, that's some hardcore shit. That's also like those are the same stories like of like the guy pushing the boulder up the hill and
and it
like,
always comes back down.
And the dude who's always getting his liver
gullet
eaten out
picked,
by an eagle. I can't believe I'm forgetting all of those people because I've known all that shit since I was a little kid. So they're adding levels to this shit.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
it's
it's cool.
They're proving that they've read a book and good for
Got a
them.
good crew of staff writers there.
Yeah, there's a weird moment where they get in Kirk and Dr. Helen get in an elevator and it starts to descend quickly and Kirk just immediately full body grabs her.
Yeah, that was
it's
a
like
little
you
weird.
could they've got just let her grab a railing, dog.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to PC police some old shit and we're gonna run into this
there
a
wasn't
lot.
really like I don't
But
know.
it's
I was
just
trying
like,
to think
come
of
on,
the
you don't
purpose
gotta-
about that. I think it made Kirk seem more scared, if anything, but
He has been scared twice in this episode now. What's going on with him? Like
he just seemed a lot worse this episode. I didn't
door
really
o-
like him this episode.
Yeah, well, yeah. First off, he's standing up for the prison system. Like, fuck that.
But
I'm
he's
not going to get into
completely
it.
arrogant too, though.
I'm not going to cost. I don't want to cost us listeners, but I'm a prison abolitionist, motherfucker. And so listening to Kirk stand up for is the prison and by extension cops is pretty lame.
Just the way he said it's a rehabilitation.
It's
Rehabilitation
a
resort.
You're
Yeah.
behind the times.
It came off
bones.
like
You're
you
behind
know,
the.
Tony Soprano when he's telling his mom like it's a retirement community.
You're behind the times. bones.
Yeah, he was just being a big baby.
Yeah, Kirk sucks sometimes, but that's part of his character. That's part of his
True,
charm.
true.
I think that
He makes
I'm
the plot
hoping we're going to
progress.
see him learn and grow. But he's really so. Helen,
So wait, they get to the planet, right?
they get to the planet. Dr. Helen, they meet Dr. Adams, who shows them the mind beam room. And it's funny when they walk by it. The neural neutralizer is what we find out it's eventually
yeah,
called.
neural neutralizer. That sounds very nice.
This is a hilarious moment. They're walking by it, and there's got a guy in a chair, and there's a guy behind. It looks like a recording studio, and there's a dude at the knobs, and he's turning the knobs, and the beam is shining a light on a guy in a chair. Now, Kirk and Dr. Adams and Dr. Helen are walking by in a hallway, and Kirk looks in, and he's like, "Oh, what's this? Some kind of mind beam?" And the doctor is like, "Oh, I was hoping you weren't going to ask me about this, Kirk."
Jeez, the door's open.
Yeah, look, I was hoping you weren't going to ask me about this, and it's not because it melts people's minds. All right, it's just because it didn't work. And
It's called the mind melter.
yeah, and Dr. Helen is like, we don't have to look at this if there's no scientific merit. And Kirk is like, hey, fuck that, I want to look at
Yeah,
it.
they're both like,
And
"Shut
she's
up,
like, well, then why did you
loser."
ask me for my opinion? And he's like, the good part about being captain is I can ask for your opinion and not have to take your fucking advice. We're looking at the
Jesus.
mind melter, motherfucker. Let's see
Yeah,
this
it's
shit.
so dumb.
But then they go in, they look at it, and basically he says, hey, it's just never worked. And we just haven't been able to figure it out. And Kirk goes, well, then why the fuck do you still use it?
We're holding out on hope.
We just gotta
like,
hold out hope that you never know when melting minds might actually do some good. And then so they walk out of the room, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as they walk out of the room, the guy working the dial turns it up and starts saying these hypnotic phrases like, "You're gonna forget everything you heard.
Yeah,
You're gonna
right.
forget every." It's like, why weren't you doing that when Kirk was in there? Is it because maybe this is some top shelf nefarious bullshit?
Oh, and it's funny too because Kirk's like, "Wow, thank you for showing me." And then he literally turns the corner and the guy's like, "Okay, now you're going to forget everything you've ever heard."
Now we're gonna melt your fucking
Yeah,
brain.
and the
Now
guy's
that
like, oh my God.
now that Kirk is gone,
He is not even that far away though.
he's literally 2 feet. Like Kirk,
Anywho.
it would have been funny, like
There's a lot
you
of weird
said.
edits like that.
It would have been funny, like you said, if so Kirk walks away and the guy goes, "You're gonna forget everything you heard," and Kirk pops his head
Yeah,
around
like,
like,
what
were
are
you
you
talking to me? Did he say something? No, I'm not. I'm definitely not brainwashing this
Don't worry.
motherfucker. Continue your tour, Captain Kirk. Oh, good work with the Federation and the Klingons. It's all very good job.
The other thing that's very, well, not subtle, but it's immediate as soon as they land on the Tantalus. What is it called?
Tantalus,
Tantalus, right. Dr. Adams was like, oh, wait, hold on. Let me turn off this security shield so
Oh,
you
there-
can make your call. And it's like, oh, geez.
There's a security screen that they can't communicate out of.
So awkward. And I'm like, yeah, that they're definitely going to use that later. Like,
Yeah.
It's super weird.
And it's funny that you bring that up because I was looking at my notes just now because I didn't want to miss anything. And one of the things that Dr. Adams says when they first meet is, no, keep your weapons, Kirk. Keep your phaser. I understand you Federation boys feel just as naked without a phaser as I do without a med kit.
that was the line, yeah.
And I'm surprised Kirk didn't say, well, you don't have to make us out to be some kind of fucking monster. Like, I don't need a gun. What are you saying? Are you saying I need a gun? I've been standing up for you all day.
This is a communicator, sir, okay?
And
this is a rehab center.
He did bring a hand phaser, too, but yes.
He didn't shoot anyone this time.
I don't think anybody got shot.
Someone got shocked.
Somebody got shocked, and they got a beam
but it wasn't
in the face.
Kirk's fault this time.
Exactly.
Kirk didn't shoot anyone. It was like, I thought it was unstunned.
Exactly. So, one other thing I want to mention, there's a creepy logo on Dr. Adams' robe. It's like, you meet this guy, he's wearing a baby blue robe.
Yeah.
That's got a
Pajamas.
dove. It's got like a hand with a dove and a sun. Like a hand is holding a dove and a
pinching it, dude.
Like cult
creepy.
leader.
Yeah.
Like culty McCultaroo.
They're like, it's a rehabilitation center.
Yeah.
Don't worry about this mind melter thing.
No, it's not a horror chamber. There's a great. I'm just gonna let the audience seek this out. There's an excellent soundtrack sting at 28 minutes in. We tried to record this episode a week ago and we didn't get sync up our schedules. So a lot of my notes are from back then. But one thing we can't forget.
What?
First instance of the mind meld.
First appearance mind meld.
First mind meld. So so the whole time Kirk and Dr. Helen are dealing with Dr. Adams and what that motherfucker's hiding on Tantalus Colony.
They're kicking it.
Spock and I like
their chemistry. Yep.
I love the Spock and Bones team up. And we talked about that because they're two sides of the same coin.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Bones is emotion and Spock is logic.
Kirk's an idiot.
And Kirk's a fucking idiot and he's not there. So Bones and Spock are trying to figure out what the shit is going on with Van Gelder. And Van Gelder keeps remembering things. He keeps giving little bits of it. And it's funny because at one point earlier, before Kirk goes down to Tantalus Colony, Van Gelder is like having a hallucination flashback or whatever. He's just yelling gibberish kind of. But he calls Kirk an arrogant bootlicker or something. Yeah. And that's exactly what that motherfucker is. Yeah, arrogant idiot. And he and that's exactly what Kirk is for trusting Dr. Adams. And they call it at the beginning. It's such a well-structured episode. Everything references another beat that either happened before or happens later. It's just really well put together.
It's well paced too. They don't waste any time.
So Bones is actually it's interesting because Bones says, Spock, you gotta try a mind meld.
Oh yeah.
Like Spock is like, I've never done it on a human. I don't know, what could happen. And Bones is like, if there's any chance that you could figure this out, you gotta give it a try, right? So Spock. It's so funny because it's the first time they've done the mind meld, so he doesn't know where to put his fucking hands. The actor,
he's putting his hands all over his head.
He puts his hand under his chin, like one like a chin strap, and the other one over his forehead. Like his brains aren't in his fucking chin. His mind isn't in his jaw, bro. You're not like sizing him up for a football helmet.
I was thinking like maybe he's keeping his head in place. Like maybe that's the logic there. But then he starts moving his fingers around.
Yeah, he's just trying to figure out how am I gonna do this?
This
is
like
something we're gonna do a few times.
Yeah,
they haven't figured it out yet. So that's very interesting to me when we see those artifacts of a time before this was all second nature for the cast and for the characters. Yeah, everybody wants to see the mind meld now.
Or the pinch too.
The Vulcan nerve pinch. I don't know if we talked about the first instance of that or not. It feels like they've been doing it for he did it in this episode, but I feel like they've definitely done it earlier. Oh, that's when Van Gelder is on when Van Gelder is on the bridge. And he's like asking for asylum, and before Kirk goes down to Tantalus Colony, and Kirk's like, "You're asking for asylum with a gun in your hand?" And it's like, yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah,
Sometimes you gotta ask for asylum with a gun in your hand because nobody fucking listens when you ask for asylum, motherfucker.
This doesn't worry him in the slightest. And then it's so weird.
And then Spock sneaks up behind him. He doesn't even really sneak up. He sees Spock coming, and then he turns around. Yeah, Kirk kicks
his
the
weapon,
gun,
and then he gets the pinch.
He gets the pinch and goes down.
Very
and then
smooth though. That was the satisfying part.
Very. It was all like a good one motion.
Oh yeah, nice little 1-2.
Well coordinated 1960s on-screen television karate.
So anyways,
love it.
Spock's got his hands on the guy's head.
So he mind melds with him, and they kind of figure out, and that's when Van Gelder talks about the neuroneutralizer.
He's like, "We are Van Gelder."
Yep, and then they talk to Kirk again, and they say, "Listen, Kirk, you got to look for this neuroneutralizer." And Kirk's like, "He showed it to us. It's fine. It doesn't do anything."
You're with him right now? And he's like, "Yeah, I am." And he's like,
yeah. So who's in the room? Oh, I'm on speakerphone. Van Gelder's in there. Goo. And then Van Gelder's like, I get it. You need privacy. I'll leave. Because he's always trying to show how cool he is. Dr. Adams, yes. I keep doing that. Dr. Adams is always trying to show how cool and flexible he is.
I know. It's so...
He's like, no, I'll give you time. I got shit I need to do. Your first officer's very good. He should want privacy. So he leaves.
Oh, it's so incredibly suspicious.
And then Spock is like, look, man, we think you fried this guy's brain with a neuroneutralizer.
It's called the mind melter.
It's called the brain fucker.
Yeah, it's like...
And so
on the nose.
So then they put the security screen back up, and it turns out, and Kirk and Helen are going to stay on the planet overnight, and everything goes sideways. Van Gelder captures Kirk and so Kirk and Helen sneak down to the machine. Basically, Kirk is like, "Hey, Helen, we got to go sneak down to this machine and check it out. You understand the science, right?"
And she's like, "Why'd you come ask me this in the middle of the night?" And he's like, "Shut the fuck up. I really need to figure out this machine."
Yeah, and he's like, "You can operate the machine, right?" Because one of the things that Dr. Adams said at the beginning, how Van Gelder fucked up, is Van Gelder didn't have somebody there to turn the dial down for him.
Yeah.
So he just turned it on and went in and set, because the machine is like, the victim sits in a chair, and they stare at this dark green glass ashtray that's taped to a
It's so
bulb.
Funny how they test it too. It's my favorite part.
So they get in, and so they sneak in after hours, and Kirk gets in the chair, and she turns the dial, and he's like, first off, he thinks nothing happened, their first test. And she's like, your mind went blank. And he's like, you haven't turned it on yet. And she's like, no, I did. And then he said, try something innocent, like an innocent suggestion. And so she turns it on, and she tells him, you're hungry. And then she turns it off, and he goes, man, I don't know if this machine's going to work, but as soon as we're done here, we got to get to a mess hall and grab some grub.
Said, let's raid a kitchen.
Yeah, we got to raid a kitchen after this. I'll tell you what. And, oh no, you're brainwashed. And then he says, do something more, do a bigger thing. Brainwash me even more.
Do something crazy.
And then she goes, when we met at the Christmas party, it didn't end the way you thought it did. You went back to my room, and then it flashes back to her telling him this imagined story of how they hooked up after the Christmas party. And then she's like, you fell in love with me. And then it cuts to him coming out of it saying, I'm in love with you. And that's when Dr. Adams shows up and takes Helen away from the controls.
Yeah, there's a henchman.
Yeah, there's one of the brainwashed henchmen. And then he goes, yeah, you're in love with her, motherfucker. And he cranks it up so that it fries Kirk. And there's so much great Shatnering in these sequences.
Yes.
Like he really Shatners the hell out of it.
For sure.
Sweaty face Shatner under a light. You shine a light on Shatner's face.
And yet he did somehow worse than the guest star. The guest star was insane. Like that guy was seizing on
Dr. Adams at the end.
No, Adams too. Adams did a good job, but no,
Van Gelder. Yeah, he killed it. So good.
Shatner did do his thing. He was like,
no. and so then they get him out of the chair, and they put him and Helen in like not a prison room, but just a room. They confine him to quarters. And when Kirk wakes up, he's madly in love with Helen, of course. And then Kirk kind of snaps himself out of it enough to find a very obvious vent. And he tells Helen, you got to get up there. You got to get in this vent and go turn on. He's like, do you have any training in hyperpower conduit circuitry? And she's like, no, motherfucker. She pulls a bones on him. She's like, no, I'm a scientist. And so here's what it turns out to be. She has to go pull a giant switch That's
It's in
the
a
training that she
strange
needs.
place.
Yeah, and so she has to go into the wall, and it
Through
seems
the
like his
vents.
guards, like Kirk puts her in the vent and closes the grate, and the
It's kinda
guards are coming
strange.
in, and it's edited weird. Like, wait,
It's like the when he turned the corner.
yeah,
away
the
from
guards
machine.
the guards should be like, did you just put somebody in the vent? Hey, where's Helen?
Yeah, right.
There was two of you in here. We might be brainwashed, but we know the difference between one and two.
Yeah,
and so
right.
she's going to shut things down, and they drag Kirk back for another session of mind melting. And there's some more great Shatnering.
Yeah, but this is what I was gonna ask. I was thinking, like, do you think he sent her through the vents and like had her sneak to turn off the power because what's his face made him, or Dr. Adams made Kirk think that she was gone?
No,
So then
I
he
think
couldn't
that he.
in turn like give
No,
him information, or it was
I
really
think
bizarre.
that I don't think that it's that deep.
Right?
I think that he sends her to shut off the power because it'll bring down the security fence.
And it was just him resisting that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they're gonna
That
beam
makes sense.
because then Spock can beam down, which is what
right,
happened.
which is how it all resolves.
And I
but-
just think it's so, like, this episode is so good because it's 1966 and it's asking all these like relatively big questions
Pretty
about
big,
the carceral state and you know, reforming people and what does that mean? And obviously this guy isn't reforming
It's the 60s,
anybody,
right?
Yeah, and so
Oh,
there's
geez.
and like right, and it's even applicable today with you know, for profit prisons and how you know that Dr. Adams is using the research that he gets from melting these people's minds to fucking fund his own crazy shit that he wants to do. You know, it's all like capitalism gets to the far reaches of the
No,
star, even though, you know what I
That's
mean?
what I
Like,
learned from this is like, even if it's a future, people can still be shitty.
and yeah, even if there's no, like Spock says, hey, we got rid of emotion. And if there's no emotion, there's no violence. It's like, shit, dude, people can be violent for
Yeah.
logical reasons, dog.
That too.
And so it's,
That was one of the best lines in the show, I think, or in the episode where he was like, why do you guys glorify like mass violence?
Why-
or
yeah,
punish
you guys
those
being
who
humans.
exercise it privately.
yeah, they say you glorify mass violence like wars and shit, but then you know,
Punish
incarcerate,
the ones, yeah.
punish people who do it privately. And Bones is like, hey man, I'm right there with you, but you know, I suppose no. But he said,
have all the answers.
I bet Vulcans have it figured out. And
yeah.
he's like, yeah, we don't have emotion. It's like, well, shit sucks for you too,
That
bro.
conversation could have gone on for a little longer. Like they ended that really quick.
I
but-
love all the Bones and Spock stuff in this episode.
Oh,
we
it
talked
was
about
really
that,
good.
but that's one of the really good bits about it is all the they separated them out in a way that made it interesting.
Yeah, they split it up really well, the A and B. It felt like it flowed together. But anyway, so she's down in the vents.
Yeah, so she
like,
goes and
tries
turns
to
off
find
the
the power.
thing. Somebody stops her, but Spock is able to beam down.
Oh no, she knocks him into the. She knocks
Oh,
the guy
the elec-
into the. She electrocutes him.
All right,
It's weird.
let's
so the
talk
way
about
the,
it.
Yeah, so the way she gets
Break it
down
down.
there, right? She like tries to open another shelf, and it looks like a power conduit, but then she's like, no," and then she just closes it, and then she walks over to this other shelf. And then there's a door, and there's like a clear red bar, and it's like on and then off, but it's like a pull down bar.
Yeah, it's like
not like a
basically like a
traditional,
chin up
like,
bar.
switch. Yeah.
It looks like a chin up bar that's
She
like
just like cranks it.
it looks like some
down.
Ghostbusters ass switches.
Yeah.
And so she turns it off, and then one of the brainwashed guards jumps out and tries to stop her, and she pushes him into a fence, a little piece of fencing
Piece of it, yeah.
that just electrocutes the shit out of him. I
He
was
just
so,
takes the entire power of the
truly one
entire
of a
facility.
very surprising and good sequence.
I
Just
know.
shocks the hell out of him.
Damn,
he
he just
dies, so she
died.
killed a man.
Yeah, she did.
And then
kill count.
Spock beams down, and he so
Oh, then he goes and shuts off the shield, though, right? Doesn't he shut off something else?
What happens is at some point Kirk pulls himself out of the chair and
Because the power's
communicates
off.
with the Enterprise. No, even when it's on, he like fights
that's right.
it.
That's right. Yeah,
Before the
that's true.
power
He
gets
is pretty
turned
strong.
off, Kirk fights it and he jumps out of the chair, and then the power goes off. Kirk frees himself. Dr. Adams goes into the room with the beam, and then when the power comes back on, he gets his brains fried.
Because he's laying down there and he's like, "Oh."
And the same exact thing happens to him that he claimed happened to Van Gelder. Like there was nobody to turn it off.
True.
And but yeah, so he gets his, He gets his in the end. His brain gets melted.
Dude, it's like a good 15 minutes before he's like, "Oh, Dr. Adams," and then he like runs.
Oh yeah. So they've solved
They're
everything.
all safe. Like everyone's arrested.
They're breaking everything down. The power's back on. Spock is talking to Kirk.
Oh,
Kirk,
that's right.
Kirk awkwardly kisses Helena because he's still in love with her. He's kissing Helen, and then Spock walks in and is like, "Whoa, what the fuck's going on here?"
Yeah,
she's like, "He's brainwashed. He's brainwashed. It's okay."
She goes, "Dr. Adams made you do this," and Kirk's like, "Oh shit, Dr. Adams.
We left him in the microwave too long."
Yeah, basically.
It's like it's like when you're making microwave popcorn and you're counting how long it is between the last kernels exploding, but then like something happens and you get your attention drawn away and then you gotta burn your whole popcorn. This is that, but with a man's brains.
Yeah.
And he does some really great guest acting too when he's writhing on the floor, getting the light treatment. And what's interesting about this is they just immediately put Van Gelder in charge. Like that guy just really had his brain put back together.
And he had asylum at gunpoint too. So.
Yeah, he also was just pointing a gun at people 20 hours before they put him in charge of a penal colony.
They switched back pretty quick. I mean, I guess it was the least Kirk can do after completely ignoring his request. But you would think they would send more like Starfleet people like on the other planet.
I think they mentioned that they're sending a team to like clean up the mess or whatever, but Van Gelder is in charge. And
so strange. They at least destroyed the machine. They confirmed that at the end, so that's good.
Yes, and that was the Van Gelder says we messaged them that they destroyed the machine, and it's so interesting that they really look past, like by they I mean Spock and Bones. They really have an opportunity to give Kirk a big "I told you so." Like, oh my God, Kirk's just sitting there post having his mind melted. The only thing I can think of is
Kirk's like traumatized.
They're going easy on him because he's got PTSD or whatever from having his mind melted.
Yeah.
We don't. I think he learned his lesson when they made him assault a woman. I think maybe he was brainwashed into grabbing a woman and kissing her against her will. That he probably knows what he did. That it was all bad.
No, and I was relieved too that they also didn't do like a. Oh man, like I can't believe you kissed the Helen Noel, Kirk. Oh, no, they just said
music,
you know.
No, they didn't make a big joke about
it. God.
And I enjoyed that.
Tropes.
They did a good job with the Kirk being brainwashed to being in love with her, and I do think it was interesting that Kirk was just offended by the fact that he had to interact with somebody he had a romantic dalliance with. He's just like he was made so uncomfortable. It's like, dude, don't be a fucking baby. Be a professional. It's like, don't dip your pen in the company ink if you're not willing to write a check with it once in a while, you know?
You're freaking captain, dude.
It was completely inappropriate in the first place. You're the one who fucked it up and was inappropriate.
No, and then like he turns the bones and he's like, she better be the best.
She better be the best assistant ever. It's like, dude, fuck you.
She is.
Be professional.
Just go. Yeah, it's really dumb.
But that was good, and I think this was good. I think we really. What else do you want to say about this episode? I think we did a better job this time.
Dicing through it,
peppering the synopsis throughout our discussion. Like what? So what else? What do you take? What's your takeaway here?
The big takeaway from all this: one, Kirk is an arrogant idiot.
Yeah,
and then the Bones and Spock relationship's really good. It got better. I think the biggest one though. See, like all the episodes, and I always say this probably every episode, but it's like they can go in so many different directions and they touch on so many topics, like lightly, that I think this is maybe kind of a commentary on like psych wards and prisons and like how doctors can still get away with awful stuff, even if it is in the future, you know?
It felt like they were touching on a lot of the topics that would be like in books like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
That's what I was thinking of too.
And that was all very timely. I don't know exactly when those books came out before this or around the time.
I was thinking though, I don't know if we should Google this or something, but because I remember hearing somewhere that like psych places or psych wards were like from the from way back when all the way to like even the 1960s. They just sent old people there.
Yeah,
and,
all that shit was fucked up. Yeah,
it was just like a conglomerate of just like whatever. Because they didn't know what to do with them.
And then in the 80s, Reagan closed all that shit down and just let everybody out. And it's what caused like a lot of the social problems of the 80s. But yeah, the mental health system in the US and around the world has been dog shit forever.
The 60s, they were like, oh, maybe we shouldn't mix the old people with the crazies. Like that's crazy. That shouldn't have been that long to make that decision.
Yeah, it seems counterintuitive to people's health to put
I think
them in
it was
that situation.
His commentary on that too.
Yes,
though.
absolutely.
It was so interesting.
I think they did a really good job of for the time discussing these topics. And like I said, it's prescient. It's especially prescient even today because I really don't like the fact that Kirk stood up for this carceral stuff. You know, I don't like the fact that he was like, oh, you got to trust this Dr. Adams guy. It's like, no, actually, you shouldn't fucking trust somebody who can brainwash people.
No, especially since he just was held at gunpoint from a prisoner that wanted asylum.
Well, that was before that.
Well, that's true. But he was just like, I don't want to go there.
Okay, so yeah, Kirk, even after a man holds him at gunpoint and says, I don't want to go back to that fucking planet, Kirk is telling Bones, oh, this guy might just be crazy. We should trust this Dr. Adams.
Yeah.
Let's go check it out.
But overall, I think it was a solid episode. Well
fantastic.
Paced.
And I would say, I would think that if I looked it up online, if I gave a shit to do any research, I would probably see that this is an iconic episode that people look back on as
first
like one of the big ones.
Meld.
First Mind Meld.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Excellent guest cast. Mariana Hill knocks it out as Dr. Helen. As Dr. Helen Noel. They did fantastic.
Morgan Woodward, yeah.
There's so much the River Lethe reference. Just a somber ass ending.
Yeah.
Kirk's just like sitting with his noodle scrambled on the bridge, like, oh my God, everybody just be quiet for a little while. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. Good job to the people of the past who made this episode.
Yeah. Big up.
So
any big takeaway that you have from this?
Just that prisons are bad and we need to absolutely abolish all for profit prisons and fucking figure out what makes people have to go to places like that instead of, because everything, and this just shows you a big part of the problem is they don't even say we got to figure out why these people did this and change society. You know, it's just like well,
we got rid of their machines, so
melt
we're
their
good.
brain. Yeah. Well, we could just melt their brains, so we don't have to figure out why they did it. We just have to wait till people do it, then melt their brains.
Even his pitch, Dr. Adams' pitch, and he was like, our method here is to bury the past. And I was like, oh, jeez. Like,
yeah, dude.
That doesn't sound good.
And that was when they first met Lethe. That's right. And Lethe says that was somebody else that did those things. It's like, oh, so part of your treatment is complete disassociation with your crimes? That seems counterproductive.
That's terrifying.
But I love it. And I think that the
solid episode.
I want to get a robe like Dr. Adams wore, that baby blue robe. They all look so
comfy.
Yeah, that baby blue robe with the cult symbol on it.
The engineering gear.
Engineering
cool.
robes. We got to... Once we're making money off this podcast, we got to get some memorabilia that's like on set worn engineering robe. But yeah, so that's it. That's it for the talking about the episode. Now let's get into our recs for like content. What are we wasting our fucking time on right now?
Let me see. I'm going after the platinum for Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh yeah,
I've been hooked, dude. That game looked amazing on the PS4.
And this is like a re-release of it?
Oh, for sure. This is
remaster.
the second remaster, because it was from the PS2 to the PS3 to the PS4.
Are there also sequels? Is there
what is it? It's there's a trilogy, but it's like all kind of somewhat related, but not really.
Oh, so is the new thing, is it all the content remastered or?
Yeah, it's all, most of the content's all remastered. They like redid all the landscapes, the scenery. It's really like an open, vast world. But it's made from Team Ico. I think they made Ico, a puzzler, and then Shadow of the Colossus was just like their boss puzzle game kind of thing. And then The Last Guardian on the PS3, which did so-so. It was kind of a combination of the two. But yeah, it's a pretty solid game. It's like, I think everybody should play it at least once. The big issue is the controls and the camera, where it's like kind of awkward to climb these giant beasts and Colossus. But other than that, it's a really straightforward game. There's no like side quests. It's just get these 16 bosses, save the day.
That's awesome.
That's it.
I've always wanted to play it, but I've never
tried it once.
Yeah, and I have a PS4 and I've got PS Plus, so it doesn't make any sense to not grab it. I have two things. First off, if you're not watching, well, this will be 10 weeks ago. So Rings of Power was great.
Beavis and Butthead.
We're
Great.
watching Beavis and Butthead. It's really good. There's a lot of good TV right now. But I tried. I'm a big old school Final Fantasy head, and I tried playing my favorite was American Final Fantasy 2, Japanese Final Fantasy 4. And I bought the 3D remake of Final Fantasy 4 for my phone like 5 years ago, whenever it came out. And I just couldn't play it for more than 10 minutes. I didn't like the controls. I didn't like how it looked. There's something about it. But on Thursday, I bought the Pixel Remaster, the Ultimate Pixel Remaster of Final Fantasy 4. And it's absolutely perfect. And part of that is I smashed my phone and I got to go get an iPhone 14.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to get a new game so that I could play with my new phone. And so I highly recommend if you loved playing Final Fantasy 2 on the Super NES or the Super Nintendo, you gotta get the Pixel Remaster of that game. It's amazing. Final Fantasy 4, and then of course 6.
Yeah. Well, quick question. Just curious. I mean, I guess people would say Nintendo and Super Nintendo, but did anybody ever say NES or SNES?
No, SNES. It was
Just
either
SNES.
So Nintendo or Super Nintendo or NES or SNES. But I don't think people said SNES. Like I was there for when it happened.
It was
and
like
I
a
think it
little
was
pocket
funny.
of
Like it
time.
would be a joke. You'd
Right.
say SNES because it is the NES. Yeah. So Final Fantasy 4 Pixel Remaster.
Out of the Colossus.
Thank you for listening. Have a good rest of your lives. Bye.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Bye. You can find out any information about our podcast by following me, Adam, at Adam Quesnell. It's not how you pronounce it, it's how I say it for your benefit. ADAMQUESNELL on Twitter, or at FAQRulesU, at Instagram. Follow. I promote the show. You'll know when and where you can get it on more platforms, so it's on your platform of choice. Thank you so much, and reach out on either of those platforms if you want to tell us anything about the show. Also, I know that we're supposed to say this, like and subscribe, whatever that means. Thanks so much.